Of course it's a challenge, but then when you choose to do business in a town which has got a river flowing through it, there's a certain expectation that things like that might happen. The reality of it is that we flooded, since I've been here, I came here in 2012, we flooded 2012 and then again 2013, so 2 years in a row was a real kicker. Definitely from a business perspective, by this summer, I will have finally could say that the floods are no longer affecting me, because I had to take out an extra business loan, which I will have paid off by the end of this summer, in 2013. Plus also, you sort of rather hit it on the head when you said, oh, I know that Bradford-on-Avon is always in the news for floods. Actually, the last time we flooded was 5 years ago. People still have that impression. So, for example, my Christmas parties is a very difficult one to get, because if you're designated to run the Christmas party for this year and you go and tell your colleagues, oh, I'm thinking of arranging the Swan, you can guarantee that somebody's going to say, oh God, don't go there, it always floods. And so, of course, if you're arranging a group party, you don't want to find that at the last minute the venue's calling you up saying, I'm sorry, we're flooded. The reality is that's not it. But it does cause far-reaching problems, as you say. It's created a perception that Bradford-on-Avon always floods. So that is a challenge. We've got to get away from that. I think obviously the longer it doesn't flood through, the better it is. People forget. But they are also, the Environment Agency are doing a lot to look at flood defences for the town. And so they've got various plans to deal with that, and that will certainly help, both in terms of the reality of the situation and hopefully the perception of flooding. I just say I'm not commenting anymore because I'm not going to talk about that subject, because it doesn't matter whether you talk about the subject and say, yes, we haven't flooded. It's just, there's an article about Bradford-on-Avon and flooding, and it just brings it all back up again. So, and you can see, look at that picture over there. That's from the Great Flood of 1902, with horse-drawn carriages going through the town. It's not something that's new. Worse, I think, and I think there are three main reasons for it getting worse, which has got nothing to do with Bradford-on-Avon. It's the fact that we're building on floodplains all over the country, so we're losing our floodplains. There's over-farming, so water is running off the fields much more quickly than it used to. And the water is running straight into the roads, straight into drains, and being delivered to the rivers much more quickly than it would have done 100 years ago. In terms of the business of Bradford-on-Avon, it has changed. What has grown is the number of restaurants and cafes. We've got 53 outlets serving coffee in the town. Huge, isn't it? About 84% of the visitors that come into town, and this has been a study that's been done by a national organisation, think about 84% of the people that come into Bradford-on-Avon come in for leisure reasons. So they're not coming in to do their shopping per se, they're not coming in for work or whatever. The majority of them are coming in to leisure. It could be swimming, or maybe to have a cup of coffee, or to meet friends or whatever. So that's quite telling. But yeah, bottom line, the problem for the business is there's just not the footfall. We haven't got the number of people walking into town and using the town. And we as the business community think that there's two reasons for that, very simply. One is that there's not enough parking, and that's been clearly indicated also through studies. For example, a recent study that was done shows that during the market day we had 4% of available parking spaces in the town. A southwest town's average on a market day is 16%. So we're way behind that. We're really tight for parking. And then on a non-market day, most other towns are 26, 27%, and we're about 16% of available spaces. So we've got the issue that there's not enough parking in town. And the other issue is I think it's a little bit of an urban myth, but there's the issue that people think that traffic in town is a nightmare. And it's a nightmare 24 hours, 24/7, which it isn't. Yes, there's a bit of pressure in the morning when everyone's going to school and when you've got the commuters using us as a through route. Yes, that's an issue. And in the late afternoon. But, I mean, you go out there now and you'll probably be able to walk across the road within 10 seconds, you know. And so, and I've come across people who say, I won't go anywhere near Bradford-on-Avon, traffic's a nightmare. And so we've got a bit of a perception issue there that's stopping people coming to Bradford-on-Avon. I believe that's part of the problem. But we've got some pluses as well. We've got an incredible train service, and that's something that we need to use more, because, you know, the train service doesn't affect traffic, doesn't affect parking, so we can tap into these great markets such as, you know, Bath, and well, basically everything on the rail network, making this a great town to have a visit to. So.
Do you think maybe being so close to Bath it steals the limelight of tourism a little bit?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
No, I think it's a great opportunity for us, because Bath is the, I think, fourth largest visited city in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
So there's just a huge opportunity for us to capitalise on, rather than to see it as something that affects us negatively. I think it's a huge positive. And also with Bath, they are now they've got a lot more hotels. They're adding something ridiculous like 2,000 more hotel bedrooms in the next year or two, next 2 years. So they're desperate to fill those. They've managed to persuade these big hotel groups to come in, but they've got to help them fill it. So their focus is rather than having people stay one night in Bath and move on, which is what they're doing, they're trying to focus people on staying in Bath for 2 nights. Well, Bath doesn't have enough things to do for people for 3 days. So they're looking further afield to say, how can we promote Bath as a place to stay for 2 nights? Well, we're sitting right here, and this is a perfect opportunity, and we are working very closely with Bath to capitalise on that and to help them get there. But no, so I see it as a great opportunity. And I mean, we're so different. I don't think. I mean, you know, we really are a quintessential Cotswolds town. We are in the Cotswolds, and there's very few Cotswolds towns that you can visit by train. So it's, you know, yes, you could go to Castle Combe, which is very pretty, or you could go to Laycock, but you can't get them on any form of private or on any form of public transport. Whereas Bradford-on-Avon, 12 minutes on the train from Bath is huge, and it is. I mean, people tell me every day. I live here, and you sometimes don't see it, but people tell me every day, you've got such a pretty little town. And it is, because it's also so unique that it's got this mismatch of architecture, that actually this is an industrial town. That's its history. It's not a market town, it's an industrial town. So you can see that in the buildings, but then again it's also got buildings throughout the centuries. I mean, we've got a Saxon church dating back to 869 AD. We've got 14th century buildings, we've got 15th century buildings, we've got 16th, 17th, 18th century buildings running right the way through, even right up to 21st century buildings. If you just go on the edge of town, one of our largest employers in the town has just built a massive great new factory, and they're doing cutting edge business. So it's, I think, unlike Bath is beautiful and very stunning, but it's all from one era. And that, I don't decry that, I think it's amazing, but this gives you an opportunity to see something completely different. You're not seeing a smaller version of Bath. You are seeing a completely different, a commercial, vibrant town. You're seeing a town that's, as I say, got an very strong industrial heritage. I mean, you know, if you think about it, 1992 was when Avon Rubber closed. So up until 1992, this was a full-on industrial town with thousands of workers coming in to work every single day in Avon Rubber. in buildings all over the town centre, and they moved away in 1992. So if you think about it, that's what only, I should know this off the top of my head now, but it's only 16 years. Is that right? Yeah. It's only 16 years ago this was a full-on industrial town, no concept of tourism whatsoever. And so we're actually very young as a tourist town. So we've got a lot of opportunities there to get the word out that Bradford-on-Avon is an amazing town to visit. Yeah, I mean, this is what's unique also about us, is we're totally independent. There is, I mean, other than the co-op, you know, there is nothing that is a large international brand, and some people might decry that and poo-poo it, and certainly studies have said that if you want major footfall in a town, they've got a list of 20 companies that you should have in your town to make it major, and it's Next, and it's this, and it's that. We definitely just, well, I wouldn't say we just don't want it. I just don't think there's not a fit. You know, the population's not large enough to support that, so any which way it just wouldn't fit. So I think it's, you know, and not only, you know, and it's fascinating to see how independent this town is, because I don't think they ever can. I just don't, as I said, unless they doubled the amount of homes in the town, which is definitely not on the cards, there's no way that they can attract those sorts of brands in. I think that, you know, perhaps there's some work that could be done to attract some certain shops in, but again, I think it's fiercely independent shops that offer a unique service. I mean, look, we've just across the road here, we've got a tobacconist, and people will drive from 50 miles around to buy their pipe tobacco and cigars from this shop. You know, and it's one of the only tobacconists in the southwest now. And so I think niche things like that, perhaps, I mean, you know, I don't know, just throwing things like sort of a really niche women's underwear shop, you know, where you can go in, get superior service, properly fitted, properly measured, you know, all these sort of things. People don't think about that, and you see it all on TV all the time, that people are wearing the wrong bras and things like that, you know. But having something special like that in the town, so more independent, unique shops that are offering a unique service that will draw people in from much further than just the town, because the town is only 8,000 people. So we're never going to be able to, we haven't got enough people to service all the businesses in town, because the population of the town breaks down pretty much 50-50 to retired people and working people who are working. So you've got the retired who are around most of the day but haven't got a lot of money to spend. These days people are living a lot longer. They're very nervous about, you know, their money. They're thinking, I might last another 20 years. Haven't I got enough money to do that? So they're much more reticent to go out and spend their money. And then of course you've got the people who work who are not even in the town 5 days a week because they're out working hard. So we need to get shops in here that are going to draw people from much further. I mean, I would love to see, you know, we've got Molten Bicycles here. I would love to see a Molten Bicycle shop in here, or perhaps combine it with their parent company, which is another of a cycle manufacturer called Pashley. Pashley produce, you know, the old style bikes with a basket in the front. And that would be truly amazing if we could have a showroom for Molten and Pashley in the town. It'd be so cool. It's so unique, so different. People would come literally. Well, we have the Molten Bicycle Club meet here twice a year in town. They come. We get people flying in from America, Japan, Thailand with their bicycles, with their Molten bicycles, to join this weekend, to join other Molteneers, as they call themselves.
That is
quite incredible.
Cool.
Yeah. So, also I get every year, I get groups of Japanese watercolor painters that come here, and they come. It's one tour operator that I work with, and he the group leader is an artist himself, and so he knows all these artists in Japan, and all these artists, they're quite well known, but they have their little school. That's what they do on the side. So they might have 20 or 30 people that they teach art to, and he goes to them and says, look, why don't you bring them over to England for a week and teach them to do art? So they come here, and they spend 3 days here, and literally it's in the summer, so 6 o'clock in the morning you'll see them out around town all sitting there painting, and they'll be doing that till 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. They're just solid painting. And the guy who from the tour operator, last time he was here, I was chatting to him, he said, and then after here they go to a little town right in the depth of Cotswolds. And he said, this town is the best town in the country for painting, because it's got the river, it's got, within easy reach, you've got the river, you've got trees, you've got buildings, so there's so much so many subjects to work on. So it's James Sullivan Taylor, SULLIVAN-TAILYOUR, and I'm from the Swan in Bradford-on-Avon. 3 words. I would say beautiful, independent, but I want to say something about its community. So it's a beautiful town. It's a fiercely independent town, but it's also got a great heart. Well, heart probably is another word. Great heart or community. There's a real sense of community in the town as well.